using your emotion to come to know what is your true nature, this is called Bhakti Yoga, the way of union through devotion. Somebody else is more of an intellectual mind, rational thought. If you use your rational mind as an effort to come to know what is your fundamental nature, this is called Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. If you're using attention, the science of attention, for deeper self-knowledge, this is called Raja Yoga, the way of union through meditation. Or let's say you're neither of these characters. You're more of a doer in the world. You like to go out and do things physically. If you can act in the world without becoming attached to the fruits of your action. Unfortunately, whenever we act in the world, we're too much concerned with the fruit of the action. If we looked at studies that have been done, it's not a coincidence that volunteer organizations, the level of performance tends to be much higher than paid employees. One reason is they're totally willing to the process. They're not just doing it as a profession, as a means to make a living. So when you're really willing to the process, when you're totally involved, you will see it's not about the fruit of the action. The process itself, that is sufficient unto itself. So if you can act without becoming attached to the fruits of your action, this is called Karma Yoga, the way of union through action. Have any of you heard the word no mind? The term no mind? Yeah. This has to be explained. What is no mind? In Japan, you'll see it's part of the martial arts. Zen is a fundamental part of the practice of the martial arts. And one thing that's done in the martial arts is something you're trying to cultivate, a quality which is called no mind. What is no mind? It doesn't mean the absence of the mind or the absence of thought. We're talking about a way of acting in the world where you can act with total involvement, yet you're not clinging after the outcome of the action. What would be the energy of such a mind? It would be totally fresh and spontaneous. So it's a bit like this. There was a servant of a master, and doing his usual work, and the owner came back home. To his amazement, he found that the servant had slept with his wife. So he told him, okay. He was very quiet and calm. He said, just continue what you're doing and come meet me outside. And this owner was a very well-known swordsmaster. So the poor servant was panicking. He came to see the master. So the swordsmaster told him, look, I've always loved you. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to kill you immediately. You're a very beloved servant of mine. So I'm going to give you a chance to survive. You're going to have to fight with me in a duel to the death. And the servant was just overwhelmed. He thought, my God, this is a well-known swordsmaster. He's fought in many wars and battle. He's going to destroy me just like one kills a fly. So he told the master, he told him, okay, just give me a little bit of time. I'll go talk to my yoga master, seek his advice, and then we'll meet. So they arranged at a time. So he went to see his yoga master. He listened to the story. The master told him, okay, here's something for you to know. Don't you have any fancy ideas that you're going to be able to survive this. He's going to destroy you effortlessly. Consider this inevitable. So while you're involved in the moment, the only advice I can give you is Just be totally involved, give it all you've got, as if this is your first and the last moment. Beyond that, nothing else is in your hands. So he said, okay. He went back to see the master. He picked up the sword, and the way he picked up the sword was filled with such courage. Even the swordsmaster was surprised. Then they started fighting. And because he was so involved, the swordsmaster is used to fighting trained warriors. But this guy was not following any fixed pattern. He was just hitting here and there and everywhere with such total involvement. Even the swordsmaster was surprised. Eventually he got the sword to his neck and he said, "What do you say now? Do you accept defeat?" The swordsmaster said, "Yes, I accept defeat." The servant told him, "Like you, I've always loved you, but I can't remain in your service anymore. However, today I'm tremendously grateful to you because you've taught me such a tremendously valuable lesson." And very shortly afterwards, the next day, he became enlightened. So, this is how a human being should be. You act in the world. Something comes out of it, your well-being is settled. Nothing comes out of it, your well-being is also settled. Or you might think, how can I be happy if the physical body is in a state of suffering? Anybody heard of Ramana Maharishi? Towards the end of his life, he had a very serious cancer. When he was walking, he couldn't keep his head erect. He had to walk like this. Whenever he'll walk, he'll have to walk like this. His disciples, seeing this, told him, "We're seeing you suffering like this day in and day out. How is it you just don't want to die and get rid of this misery?" Ramana Maharishi quite simply told him, "You give too much importance to the body." So, you're in the body, yet you're not of the body. You're in the mind, yet you're not of the mind. You're in the world, yet you're not of the world. This is the way of freedom. To know this kind of freedom, one thing that must happen is the mind must open, the perception of the mind must open to a dimension that's beyond the limits of the ego.